All right, hello everybody. We are back with another author interview for Space Wizard Year 4, Part 1. This time we are talking with P.S.C. Willis. And go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us what your book is about.
Okay, so my name's P.S.C. Willis, and my book is Crying Out for Magic, which is kind of like a reverse Portal fantasy. So we have our world and a magical world, and a naive little wizard from the former, or sorry, he's a mage, not a wizard. He will
Oh,
correct you on that. Tumbling into our world and trying to see what he makes of that.
yeah. And it's definitely like a very neat, cute romance. It is so cute. So when you originally sent this to me, I started reading through it, and first very clean writing, which was great when I was reading through it. I doing the developmental edit of this did not have much in the way of like line edits and things, so very clean. But also it was just so fun to read. So that's why I really liked it, why I picked it up. And how everybody can see it very soon. So where did this come from? What inspired you? Why do you want to write about a, goofy magical person who's tumbling into our world?
So it came from multiple different places, I think, in terms of like the characters came from one place, the setting came from one place. So it really started with Draven, who is our mage. And he, under a different name, was a character I had in an RPG game.
Mhm.
And as happens with RPG games, people vanished and the story never got finished. And I
Yeah.
could see where his story was going, and I loved him so much and I wanted that ending for him. So I was like, all right, I just write you a book myself.
Yeah.
Uh, but then of course the original setting and the other characters that were around him all belonged to other people and
Yeah.
other intellectual properties. So I just sort of had to start filling in other things. And in that process, he changed a lot, and he is very different from the original RPG character, because they're both very much products of their environment. So the
Yeah.
original one I'd put through the mail, he had all the tragic backstory, life had kicked him, and
Uh,
he was scared of it, because that's fun to play,
right.
but it's not necessarily the kind of writing I want to put out into the world. So, um, yeah, the Draven in this world is also very much a product of his world, but his world is a lot nicer. And the setting kind of came, his setting came from the fact that I think the question of utopias in fiction is quite interesting. And like, can you ever write a utopia?
Mhm.
To which the quick answer is no, there's always
Right.
got to be
Yeah.
something wrong with it, otherwise it's boring.
Yeah.
Um, and then on the other side, the area of our world that I'm exploring is Northeast England. And that's because it's a place that's very close to my heart. It's where I went to university and where I lived for 5 years. And so, yeah, I just wanted a book that celebrates a part of the world that I think is beautiful and that means a lot to me.
Yeah. Well, cool. I was actually just about to ask about that because we have a slightly changed image on the cover, a little bit artistic license, but sort of an iconic landmark from around there. So like, and I thought it was a very beautiful scenery in there when you're describing both our world and the other world. So how did that scenery inspire you? Is the library There's a library in the book. I won't go much more than that, but like is the library something real or something you made up or
So Niles Library and Niles Town are fictional. Because I kind of he picks on it a bit. He sort of says, "Oh, it's a rubbish place to grow up." So I didn't really want to pin that on a
yeah.
particular real place. So his library is kind of just the amalgamation of the sort of archetype of a rundown public library.
Hmm.
Um, but the other places that they visit in Northeast England, all the yellow metro trains,
Yeah.
the Gray's Monument in the city centre, the market that they go to in the metro station, and Tynemouth Priory are all, yeah, places that I loved going when I lived there.
That's great. Yeah, I've had the chance to visit England several times and love it there. Have several friends of the family who live over there and get to visit them. But yeah, I also, one of my work trips long ago, we actually took a tour. We were in the factory plant in Desford and drove all the way up to Scotland, all the way back down. So it was a fun trip. We got to see a lot of that beautiful landscape. So
Nice.
that was
A lot of
definitely
good.
yeah, it's very evocative reading the book and seeing all that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, very much looking forward to it. We are working on titles right now. We may or may not have titles for you below this video. We'll see what happens. But if not, when you come to the campaign, you will see the full version of this book with the titles as well, which I guess another comp for this, another way we're looking at it is sort of like Heartstopper with magic. It's a because that's a popular show and comic that's been around right now. That's sort of what I felt reading it the first time, is sort of that warm fuzzy feeling that you get from watching that. Um,
Cozy
but
vibes. There are things wrong in the world and they're acknowledged, but they're not dwelt on.
right, yeah. So if you like cozy fantasy, if you like boy meets boy, if you like libraries and nerds and magic, which too
And
doesn't,
lots of tea.
yeah, and lots of tea. There is a lot of tea in the book, which is great. We
Not the metaphorical tea as in like spill the tea, as in like
actually,
literal cups of tea.
yes, yes. No, my wife and I have tea almost every day, and we keep bees as well, and we started keeping bees because we can get the honey and for tea. So
Uh,
so I very much enjoyed the tea in your book as well. Both the regular and the spilt kind. Um, so so this is your first book, right?
Yep.
Full book. Okay. But you
Debut
have,
novel.
yes. So you're a debut author with Space Wizard. Um, but you have some other writing stuff out there. Tell us a little bit about what else you've done or where people can find you.
Yeah, so I have a few short stories out in the world. I write everything from like flash fiction up to novel length. Have started dabbling in poetry, which is currently just for friends and probably not gonna see the light of day anytime soon. Um, but yeah, I have four published short stories out in the world. They're all shared on a link tree, which we can drop
Yep, we'll,
below. Two are in anthologies, like paid
mhm.
anthologies, but one is in Dreamforge magazine and is free to read online. The other one was free to read online, but I think that project ended. They last time I checked, that website was dead. So yeah, there's one that you can find for free and a few others out there.
Yeah, awesome. Well, and then I guess the other question is, what's next? Is there more to this story, or is that the end of it, or is there other projects you're working on?
Yeah, a friend I shared this with in the early days was like, "Oh, I should have known that, it wouldn't be the end." And I was like, "Oh, as far as I was concerned, that was a standalone." So, never say never, but to me this is a standalone book. I am always kind of writing more things than I can manage. There's always a few short stories floating around. One for definite coming out next year, but I don't know how much detail I'm allowed to give on that.
Yep.
And then several novels in various states of progress. So, my big goals for the year are to get my tree book, which is a sort of cozy, gentle book, unsurprisingly, about nature spirits, and it's got asexual representation.
Right.
And so that is, I'm hoping, close to being finished and polished enough to send out.
Yep.
And then trying to get a rough, like zero draft finished of a book that I'm pitching as Legends and Lattes meets the IT crowd, and takes place in this like absolute dumpster fire of a dimension.
That's amazing.
Um, But I'm a big fan of writing down ideas as they're coming and as they're speaking to you. So I've kind of had this idea that's been really noisy, and I've just been like scribbling the little snippets as they come into my head. So I'm also like 10,000 words into a book that I'm not actually writing yet.
That sounds familiar. That's what I usually do.
Yeah, very much the chaos approach to writing.
Yeah. I will usually I'm actually very methodical. I will write an outline, but my outlines can go like 12 pages long and 10,000 words, which makes it great to write the book after that because I just follow everything. But yeah, so that's great. So we'll have your first book out, coming out in what? What did we say? August? I can't remember.
September?
September, something like that. Check the
Like
website.
that.
You'll see when it's coming out. August, September, somewhere like that. I don't remember the exact date, but coming soon, and you can pre-order it in the campaign, along with any of the other 6 books that are coming out, as well as any of our other books at all that are in Space Wizard. So go look through the campaign, get your copy of Crying Out for Magic. Did we actually say the name of it? I
We
can't
did
remember.
at the start.
Okay, okay. Crying Out for Magic is actually the name, which will be with titles fairly soon. So you can check that one out in the campaign, and then go see what else is there as well. We're going to come back next time with more videos. I think we have actually, we might have an interview with me at some point, talking about my book, which is also in this campaign. But yeah, check it out. Get your copy of Crying Out for Magic, and other stuff in the Space Wizard Year 4 Part 1 campaign, and then come back in November for our Part 2 with even more books. So, thank you very much for having an interview and telling us all this great stuff about the
Thank
book.
you.
Any last words or anything that you want to send us off with?
No, I think that covers it. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Well, we will see you all next time then. All right, thanks for coming by.
Bye.
Bye-bye.